Hello, welcome to this special video training on how to make a decorative throw pillow. Like you know, my name is Funkeoyende. So the pillow we are making today is a flower type of a throw pillow, like a rose. So I'm going to show you how to do it, but I need to say that you need patterns. You need to either you able to make your pattern yourself or maybe you buy them, okay? But they are very easy. So I'm going to show you how I made my own patterns. Now for the rose throw pillow we are making, we need petals, two sizes, one big one and a smaller one. So this is petal here. This is my petal. This is the big one, and this is the smaller one. So, and we're also going to need a leaf. So this is my leaf template, and we are going to need the board also. Let me show you the board. So this is the template for the board. That's the inner part of the flower that's just coming up. So those are the templates we're going to need. So let me quickly show you. So for the petal, so you just get either a rectangle or square, and then you draw the shape of your petal. You know, my petal shape, you see that the center is dented a little bit. So you fold your paper in two like that, and then from that folded portion you start, and then you just draw something like this. Let me use a colored chalk so that you can see my drawing better. So you just do something like this and cut it out. Let me see if it's showing. Okay, so you can see this is the folded, so I just drew it like this and then I shaped it down. I hope it's clear enough. So that's just it. So by the time you cut it out, you will have your petal shape. Where's my scissors? Sorry. So you have so let me cut it out so you just see how easy it is. Very easy. So that's it. So that was how I got my petal shape. And then for the leaf too, so of course this one you make one big one and one small one. My petals, the big one is measuring 10 by 10. I use 10 by 10 inches square. Then the smaller petal is measuring 9 by 9 inches. You can make any size you want, okay? So for the leaf, you can also just get a square or a rectangle, and then you fold it in two just like we did for the petal. And then for the shape of leaf I'm using, so you just start like that, you draw, so you cut it out also. So let me cut it out so you see it's also very easy to do, but you can decide to use another shape of your leaf. So that's it. So that's the shape of leaf I want to use. And then for the board, you just get a long rectangle. My rectangle is measuring 32 inches by 7. So let's say this is your rectangle. You just you need a diagonal. You just make like a diagonal line across. So let's say I do something like this. Then this top, you can just make it wavy. You just make it wavy so that it looks more natural instead of just straight like that. So you just make it wavy or scallop, and then you cut it out, and then you have your inner, the one for the inner board. So that is it. That was how I got my pattern. So we are going to get straight to work now. So to start, I'm going to prepare my petals. Now for each of these petals, both the big one and the small one, you are going to need, because we need 5 petals of the big one and 5 big petals, 5 small petals. So that means I'm going to have to cut 10 pieces of this, because I need 2 pieces for a petal, one front, one back. The same for the smaller one. So once I cut them, then I begin to sew, right? So now this is my bigger petal. I'm using the red fabric for the flower, so this is my big petal, front and back, and this is the smaller one. So what we're going to do now is just to sew around. So I will sew around. I will leave this base, I will leave it open, sew around like that, sew all the way from here down to here, and then I turn it right side out and I stuff with my fiber material. So let me do that now. So after sewing around, I'll have to turn it right side out. Then I will do the same for all the 5 big petals and all the small petals. Alright, so after sewing all the petals, so it's time to stuff. So you grab your fiber and begin to stuff the petals, and make sure you stuff them right. All the corners must be well stuffed, and then don't stuff too hard so that your pillow will be fluffy, be fluffy and not soft. But it depends on how you want it. If you want it to be hard, then you stuff it very hard. So after you stuff all your petals, then both the 5 big petals and the 5 small petals, then the next thing will be to top stitch the end. So you turn about 1 inch in on both sides, and then you top stitch the end, either with thread and needle or with your machine. So let me get that done. So as you can see, I'm using my machine to top stitch mine. So I'm going to put all the petals, put them on one side, and then I'm going to work on the leaves now. So this is my leaf. So I'm going to cut 4 of these because I need 2 leaves. So I'm going to cut 4 pieces from the fabric I want to use for my leaf, which is this fabric here. It's a thick upholstery fabric. It has a green background, but if you have an all green fabric, it's okay. So I'm going to cut 4 pieces of this from this now. So next, I will be stitching around my leaf and leaving only the bottom side open for turning right side out. Okay, so after turning my leaf right side out, that's what I have. So next, I will be top stitching the bottom here. I will just fold a little bit of it in and top stitch. So next, to make my leaf really look like leaf, I'm going to use my sewing machine to make veins. I'm going to sew green veins on my leaves. All right, so I'll just make a stitch like this to represent veins. So let me do that now. Okay, so there I have my leaves. You can see the veins. All right, so you see, because I'm using a thick upholstery fabric, that was why I just use a fabric like that, because it's already thick. But if your fabric is not very thick, you can use stay. You can sew your stay inside to give it stiffness. All right, if your fabric is not very thick. So next, I'm going to work on the board. the inner, the board. So for the board, I'll be cutting two pieces of this my pattern. One, I'll be using two fabrics for the inner one. I'll cut from the red fabric we used for the pillow, and then from another fabric I want to use this gold one. So I'll be cutting one from the gold and one from the red, and I'll also cut the same from my fiber sheet, so as to give that inner board some stability. So let me show you. So here we are. This is the red fabric, this is the gold, and this is the fiber sheet. My fiber sheet is just about ½ inch thick. So I'll be sewing my two pieces together. I'll sew this together around and leave the bottom open. Then I'll turn right side out and tuck the fiber inside before closing the bottom edge. So I've sewn the three sides, so I'll now turn it right side out and tuck the fiber piece inside. So after putting my fiber inside, so I will now begin, I will try to top stitch, but I will first of all, turn the allowance inside and pin everything up before stitching. So let me do that. So after folding the hemming allowance in, I will now stitch in place. Okay, now so all the parts are now complete. So what we have left to do now is to assemble and bring the pillow together. So we are going to now need thread and needle to do our assembling. So just get your thread and needle, and then maybe you double your thread so that it's thick, and then you begin by piecing the petals. We are going to start piecing the petals together, the small petals together and the big petals together. So now the small petals, I'm going to use my thread and needle to start stitching them together one after the other. Okay, so these are the two small ones. I'm going to use my thread and needle to tack these two together. I'm going to tack them together from bottom here to somewhere close to the about 3/4 of the way, almost to the top, but not completely to the top. So I'm going to tack together. So after tacking this together, I will tack the next one to this next one until all the 5. Then I will tack the 5th one to the first one so that I have a circle. So just use a matching color of thread and make sure you tack very tight, you stitch very tightly. So after tacking the 5 petals, I'll now bring the 5th and the 1st together and tack, so I'll be able to have a circle. Alright, so the inner petals are already pieced together. Now I will drop it and begin to piece the outer petals. Okay, so I've tacked the bigger petals also, but the bigger petals, you see, they're more open than the inner petals, the smaller one. So the next thing now is for me to, I'm going to work on this, the board. I will just roll it up and tack it in place. Let me show you. Okay, so I'll be rolling it up from the smaller side. I will roll it in, and later I will tack it with my needle and thread. You roll it. This is a board. Then I will use my needle and thread to tack it so that it stays in place. Okay, so that is the inner board. So now we are going to bring everything together now. So the smaller one will be placed inside the bigger one. This is the bigger petal and this is the smaller one. So I will place the smaller one inside the bigger one, and I will set it in such a way that the smaller petal will be, will be facing the space in between the two big ones. You understand? Something like this. So then I will still use my needle and thread to tack the two together. So let me tack them together. So you must do it in such a way that it will not be conspicuous. So you tack the two of them together all around and make sure they are firm together. All right, so the two have been tacked together. So next I will be tacking this to the center with my thread and needle. All right, so the center is already tacked in place. That is it there, and this is the back. So finally we'll be sewing the leaf in place. So these two leaves, we'll be sewing it to the back to cover that hole at the back. So I'll just I'll tack it down with thread and needle, also tack it like that, and this one too, something like this, to cover this hole, and we'll be finishing our petal pillow. Yeah, and here we are done. Our rose pillow is complete. So I hope you enjoy it, you love it, and you can now make your own. So thank you very much. I am looking forward to seeing your own beautiful rose pillow in any color of your choice. Bye for now.